Coming up right now, there is a lot to unpack in this gas station disco-themed bathroom wedding. Try to say that 3 times fast.
Also coming up, and it's an astonishing reunion as the world's tallest man and shortest woman reunite.
No, it's not Daily Flash. Anyway, a little bit later on, some of the most disturbing revelations of Wendy Williams and her health as the former talk show host opens up in a painful new docuseries.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English, welcoming you to another edition of Daily Flash on this Tuesday. My favorite day of the week. I know I'm stupid, crazy like that, but I just love Tuesdays.
You love Tuesdays?
I don't know what it is. I think every day has some kind of thing to it. Like Monday's always Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's halfway through the week, Thursday's the day before Friday, Friday's Friday.
I don't like Thursdays. Thursdays are always just, I don't like
I'm the same way.
Yeah, bad things happen on Thursdays for me.
So Tuesday, we're gonna make it better. We are inching our way closer to Maddie's wedding. We're all excited about that. Any crazy gifts you got earlier yet or anything?
We got one thing in the mail from somebody. I'll let him remain anonymous or whatever. We got the wedding gift, the ultimate companion for the successful marriage paperback book.
Oh, paperback.
They didn't even
hardback, huh?
No, they got us a paperback, but it's a wedding guide.
A wedding
or
guide.
A marriage guide.
Marriage guide.
So you should have got that. Oh, marriage, like how to have a successful marriage.
How to have a successful marriage.
Well, I don't see that. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think they're trying to be proactive for you.
I guess they're like, oh, this already looks like it might be a disaster.
I've seen this
so
book.
Here you go.
In the back,
You've seen it.
There are odds and betting books.
Yeah. What are your Vegas odds out there already?
Is it part of DraftKings that I'm not aware of?
A whole new thing.
Did you know betting is legal in Florida now?
Yes. Yeah, at the Hard Rock.
It's called marriage.
And I can't get that dumb tune out of my head.
We were talking about
Every time I see that darn commercial, my goodness. All right, speaking of relationships, some gal's gone viral with her relationship red flags, okay? She's got rules that she wants you to follow that she says will lead you to a successful relationship. I want to see if you guys agree with this.
Okay.
Soma's relationship rules include no female friendships for your male partner.
I ain't gonna.
Okay.
Well, you and I would never hang out.
That's true. That's very true. Splitting the bill based on income.
My feeling is the guy always pays. So
Yes.
I'm not opposed to that, but it seems like it's coming out. And these are just dating, though, right?
These are dating rules, yeah, relationship rules. Not having public fights. I think that's fair.
That's normal. Yeah, that should be everybody.
A fight behind closed doors.
You don't want to have a Maury moment in the middle of the, the sizzler.
Dining hall. Yeah, exactly. Sizzler. Do they still have sizzlers?
They do, believe it or not. The pandemic, because they had the buffet.
Okay.
Anyway.
Keeping your sex life private.
Well, Mitch, we go out.
Last one on her list, number 5. No casual dating.
Okay, meaning like, so you go out on a date and go, look, is this going to be a relationship or not?
Yeah.
And then if it's just something
We're
hanging out,
not just kind of hang out, casually date. I'll see you next week. Maybe I'll see you a month from now. She's like, if you want a relationship with me, there's no casual dating. We go from 0 to 100, or we don't go.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
First off, you're going to weed out people that you don't want. I found out that dating was what I don't want in a marriage instead of what I want. I found out, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. And then luckily I found somebody that was really great about that. And I'm like, look, I want to be in a relationship. So if you're not, I'm kind of like the girl here.
I remember dating a guy, and I enjoyed his company. And he one night we were out, and he said, "Look, I'm interested in you, and I'm interested in another girl. So I need to know where you are because you're my first choice. And if you're not interested in a relationship, I'm going with the second one." And I was just sort of in a point in my life where I was enjoying the casual dating. Like I really didn't want a serious relationship. And I was like, "Look, if you're all into her, I say go for it, 100%."
Now Jackson did break up with a guy once because he called snacks Snicky Snacks. That's it. We're done.
The nicest guy in the world, and to this day, I sort of feel ashamed of even sharing that story because he was such a lovely individual. But there was just
the Snicky Snacks.
I couldn't do it. I just
keep that in mind. Every woman and every man has their rules. Then you wind up finding somebody. Sometimes you break them, and then you go, "Wow, I'm glad I broke those rules because I'm with the person."
Don't you find there's always a little something along the way in your dating
Certainly,
life? I mean, now that you're married,
100%,
but you've dated, and so I feel as though it's part of the process.
It is, and it's something that you have to go through. And as I mentioned, I found the things that I did not want in a marriage, and found a person that was not going to.
Well, I think if you're younger and you're immature, like I was at that particular point, you can be perturbed by certain things like that. As you get more mature, you can sort of overlook some of those things. I'm
going to let Sergio, the guy in charge of our craft services, let him know it's okay to call them Snicky Snacks, all right? Well, first comes love, then comes marriage, right? Well, an Ohio couple actually had their wedding at a very unusual venue, at a Kentucky gas station's bathroom, but it was a disco bathroom. Logan Abney and Tia Alastock exchanged vows in the bathroom at the Hop Shops location. The store's bathroom has gone viral for a big red button that turns a disco ball and plays music. Couple pressed the red button at the end of their ceremony to share their first dance. I think it's cool. I think it's neat. I think, Matt, you've spent way too much money for your wedding because we could have taken you to a bathroom.
Yes.
Which, speaking of dating, I've met a lot of women in bathroom.
Bucky's bathroom would have been fine.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Wall of jerky for everybody.
Not that. Well.
Has there been a wedding at a Bucky's?
Oh, there has to be.
Should have been.
They're
If there
the cleanest
hasn't.
ones I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
There has to be one. We'll have to Google that. I'm certain you could be able to find that. I love that, and it's always going to be something you can remember. And again, it's not about the wedding, it's about the marriage, and why not have it in
I'll tell you what, I've been to dozens of weddings. I never remember the floral arrangement in the center, and I don't ever remember what I had for dinner.
Okay.
I just remember there were certain specific moments in special weddings that will stay with you.
Well, this one you have to flush twice. That would be the special.
Don't forget to wash your hands.
And then wash your hands as well.
This next duo has gone to great lengths to reunite. The world's shortest living woman and the tallest living man recently got together for breakfast in California. The part-time farmer from Turkey grew to his current height of 8 feet 2.8 inches to become the latest Guinness World Records holder. The shortest woman in the world measures a little over 2 feet tall. Following her 18th birthday in 2011, Guinness officially declared her the world's shortest living woman. She played Ma Petite, an American Horror Story freak show back in 2014. And for those of you doing the math at home, there's about a 6-foot height difference between the two.
I met him. He was out in Vegas last year.
Really?
And sitting down, he was still taller than I was, just sitting down. A nice guy, very quiet and that sort of thing.
I'm taller than you sitting down.
Well, that's true. No, it's weird because I have this weird torso thing. From here up, I'm normal size, but then when I stand, my legs are so short. But he was very nice, just very tall.
Seemed like a nice guy.
A new Lifetime series. It's called Where is Wendy Williams?
Yeah, it's not the Wendy Williams I think that most fans fell in love with during her 12 seasons of her talk show. Instead, she appears erratic, lonely, and desperate to reclaim her fame. The series was intended to tell the story of Wendy's big comeback as she prepared to launch a podcast. Instead, producers got a much darker and more depressing story. By the end, it was hard to know what to think about all the people in her life. Her manager, who's also a jeweler, appeared to have her best interest at heart, pouring out alcohol he finds in her apartment and trying to get her to take care of herself. Her publicist comes across as an enabler, and family thinks she could be on the take. And with her recent dementia diagnosis, her loved ones are asking for personal space and privacy. Mitch and I both watched this show within the last week.
And I was saddened first because they come out of the gate with weird. Like it wasn't one of these where you just saw like a gradual. It was out of the gate, just really weird, and nothing that I remember the Wendy Williams show being about. The Graves' disease with her eyes, is that what that's a little disturbing as well. But we knew about that. But what I took away from it was so many people really trying to, I feel like, cash in on her while they can, and her just not living in reality anymore. And then what alcohol. They wake up in the room and there's alcohol there, and she would not let them take it out. As you mentioned, the manager had to go to beforehand. and hotel rooms and just get rid of all the alcohol.
I know, and you can't help but to think, I was a little torn. Although I was fascinated by it, I was also disturbed because I, like you, feel like there was a sort of an exploitative point to all of this, that these people were all sort of taking advantage of her and her name and kind of riding on the fame. And there are still a lot of unanswered questions with regard to the guardianship and, you know, why that came to be. They touched on it a little bit with regard to her family possibly taking more money from her, but then her family seems to be the ones that are struggling with this the most, because they said when she was with them in Miami, she was doing really well.
And you
then
can see that.
Yeah, and you can see that. And then she was taken away. So I feel like we're only getting bits and pieces of this story.
I feel that at the end, we're going to know the whole story
Yeah.
by all means, and hopefully it won't be too late. It's somebody it's like you really love her and you want her to get help, you know, because she's just, it's a shadow of what she used to be.
Yeah.
And just way out there. Anyway, if you've seen it, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Flash@dailyflashshow.com. All right, we got more Flash coming up right around the corner.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson. For KSA Cares, we dedicate time to groups that are making a positive impact on their community. And today we're highlighting a group addressing the teen mental health crisis in a very unique way. But there is one issue that teens are facing that is outside of parents' control, and that is trauma from school shootings. As a parent, how do you help your child face these issues? Joining us to talk about it is Melissa Lynn Lowenstein, Director of Training for Attitudes, Harmony, and Achievement, also known as AHA. Melissa, welcome to Daily Flash.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Let's talk about AHA. What is it and why was it created?
Well, AHA is a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1999, right after the Columbine shootings. And two therapists, Jennifer Freed and Randy Friedman, created AHA partially in response to those shootings to create spaces for teens to gather with skilled, compassionate, inspiring adult mentors and peers to learn and create and connect and support and be supported and know themselves better without fear of judgment.
Melissa, in AHA, you guys talk a lot about emotional tuning. Why do you feel we need to increase emotional tuning in schools?
Well, being able to identify, name, and manage emotions is absolutely essential for everyone's mental health, but especially for teens. And these are the ingredients of emotional intelligence. You've probably heard that term before. And intense emotions are a hallmark of adolescence, which is not a bad thing. It gives teens the courage and the drive to take the risks necessary to grow themselves up. But in the teen brain, the centers that make decisions and think things through, and the centers that respond to threats, are not really talking to each other that well yet. And the adolescent years are where this connection develops, and the way that teens learn how to navigate emotions during this time really sets them up for the rest of their lives.
And Melissa, what do your mental health courses consist of?
We gather in groups with a facilitator for every 7 or 8 teens, and we really have an experience together. That's the heart of what we do. We don't sit them down and teach them stuff. We play games, we check in. We do have little learning segments where they learn, really workable tools for managing their emotions and a lot of other social emotional skills. And then they sit in circle and they talk about it and they make it relevant to their own lives. And they give and receive support from each other and from these really skilled, highly trained facilitators.
I think communication is so key. How many kids have you helped so far with this program?
Well, we have served an amazing about 75,000 people in the course of 25 years.
Goodness.
And most of them have been teens. We also serve educators and parents, but primarily, 54,000 or so students over the course of the time that AHA has been a thing.
And what's next for the group?
Well, we have 2 signature events coming up. We have our Sing It Out event, which is a unique 15-week journey for a group of teens that they go from never having stood on stage with a microphone to rocking out a cover song in front of a band and hundreds of screaming fans. And then we have our summer digital cleanse where we bring some kids out to nature and take their devices away for 5 days and do our AHA thing.
Melissa, great to have you on the show. For more information on AHA, check out ahasb.org, I should say, ahasb.org. Mitch, we'll send it over to you.
Doing such great things there. It's so needed. All right, moving on now. Monica Lewinsky, remember her? She's actually still rocking everything from a bold leather trench to her signature little black dress as she stars in a fashion campaign. No blue dress. I didn't see any blue dress.
No navy.
She's also using this ad space to get women to use their voice at the polls. The 50-year-old, wow, former White House employee looks stunning. She does, too. And the Reformation brand's new images, the political activist, writer, and producer who worked under Bill Clinton. Literally, in the 1990s, came under fire for her affair with the former president. Certainly knows a thing about how to use her voice. She co-produced the HBO Max documentary 15 Minutes of Shame, exploring how to cancel culture and online shaming have impacted people like herself and like what I just did. Lewinsky also serves as a producer on the FX series Impeachment, the American Crime Story, which documented her relationship with President Clinton and his resulting impeachment. And I say, she looks, first off, amazing, number one. And to be able to recover from what she has done to where she is at now, I think all props. Because I think back then people, you probably agree with me, Jackson, back then people were like, well, this is it for her. She's never going to be heard of ever again, but she's using it for good.
Yeah, and if you watch that FX show, it is phenomenal.
It is,
I mean,
really.
The story that is told, that unfolds in that. And you think about the politics now when it comes to women in that kind of situation, which she was in with the president at that time, compared to women in this day and age. I feel like she was kind of the first one out of the gate that really took it tough with regard to critics, you know, coming right after her when she really was the victim in all of this.
And a forgotten victim as well.
Yes.
I mean, and she came and she first was labeled as the one that did this, and almost like he got a pass almost for what happened. But I'm glad to see that she's actually still rocking and rolling, still has a great sense of humor. On social media, she puts out some really, actually some funny stuff. But great to see here what she's doing there as well. And so we wish her all the great.
Yeah.
Even with my bad jokes. Okay, I know it's wrong. Hey, we want you to be informed, of course, what's going on here on the show. Maybe you've seen something on the show and you're like, hey, I need more info. Don't worry about it. We got a place for you to check out. It's dailyflashshow.com. There you'll not only find links, you'll find full interviews. And matter of fact, you can watch the entire show there. So if somebody says, where can I watch this awesome show? You say, well, go to dailyflashshow.com. We love hearing from you as well. You could drop us an email. And of course, anything we say here, want to talk about my bad jokes or whatever, or whoever's, you can drop us an email at flash@dailyflashshow.com. More fun coming around the corner. Also going to be talking about kill switches put it in new vehicles. Good idea or bad? Car Smarts is next. Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. It's time for Car Smarts, and in today's Car Smarts, Lauren Fix, the car coach, actually talks about a new kill switch that might be in your new vehicle. But is it a good thing? She tells us all about it.
The National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, or NHTSA, wants your feedback on the kill switch mandate. This has already been passed in the 2021 infrastructure bill. The system is described in the bill as an advanced drunk and impaired driving prevention technology, and the measure is positioned as a safety tool to help prevent drunk driving. Nobody wants drunk driving. But there is more to this bill than just the drunk driving part. And by 2026, the kill switch will be mandated in every single new car and truck sold in the United States. Really, I'm not kidding you. And if you read carefully, you'll start seeing this for yourself. And that's why in the past, your comments were so aggressive. I wanted to make sure you had a chance to comment. NHTSA is seeking feedback from the public on this issue, and that's your chance to say something. According to the Washington Post, the agency is curious to learn if the public will accept the potential of false positives that could prevent sober drivers from operating a vehicle. Just imagine any emergency. And that's where you were getting really upset in the comments, and this is your chance to give you the feedback. But you can't do anything because your car won't start due to a false positive, or any other situation for that matter. I can just imagine you calling your boss saying, oh, I can't get my vehicle started. It's some sort of preventative technology. It's giving me some sort of false positive. There's going to be a million different variables out there. Where it really gets concerning is if you do have an urgent emergency with a life life-threatening implications. You won't be able to get your vehicle there. It's going to sense your stress and shut the vehicle down. And how do you get out of kill switch jail anyhow? That was something that one of you commented on. You're right. So the vehicle's locked down. How do you unlock it? That has never been discussed either. Now, even if the system is 99.9% accurate, this could still amount to 1 million false positives a day, which is something all of us will have to deal with in the system if it's implemented, unless you say something and we try to get this removed. The National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration also wants to know how the government should educate the public about the technology-related privacy concerns. The concerns include listening to you in your car, tracking your eyes, and they're already doing that through a company called Gentex Systems and many others. And if you look at the video, it is going to really upset you how they're tracking literally every action that you make. And this includes tracking of your driving inputs, including steering, location, gas, and brake pedals. And more sensors means more data collection, posing further privacy concerns, not just for you, but literally for everyone. I'm Lauren Fix, and you can find this information on my website, carcoachreports.com and dailyflashshow.com.
Hey everyone, it's Furry Friends time, and you dog lovers out there have a routine of walking your dog on a daily walk, right? Well, morning, night, if you work from home, maybe during your lunch break to get some fresh air and, get off that Zoom meeting. But those of you who don't take them out and just take them out back to go piddle and come right back in, well, it might be a detriment to them. Experts say the typical yard doesn't offer enough stimulation to prompt an adequate amount of movement for your furry friend. They say, first off, all dogs don't exercise by themselves. They need to be motivated and prompted to move. Also, they rely on the schedule for their well-being, and they rely on the companionship of their humans. That's you. As well as the interaction with the other dogs and animals they come in contact with, like that squirrel they're trying to chase or that raccoon they're trying to make best friends with and make it into a Disney movie. Now, not walking them can add stress and make them more destructive in the house. So when they tear up your shoes, it's your fault. So dog people, walk your dogs. And Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom marked an exciting milestone when the baby elephant Cora made her public debut on the savannah inside the park's Kilimanjaro Safari ride. She was born on December 13th, but was stuck to her living quarters until she was big enough to meet the guests. She is bound to her mother, Nadia, who is an 8-year-old and was born on the Florida property also. You can go see the pair graze on the ride. And I've been on that ride, I don't know how many times. It's great to go out there and see the animals. Sometimes they come right up to the safari truck and you get a little interaction. We had a chance to get a rhino a little too close once, and we had to wait there for half an hour for the big boy to move. So if you get a chance, head out to Disney's Animal Kingdom and you can see the new baby Cora. Now, Mitch, you and I are cat people and we don't have to worry about the walk thing, but you've had dogs in the past, and was that part of the routine, or were you a yard dog dad?
Well, okay, I had kids, so they're like, hey, get out and walk them, right? But they never did. And when I moved out of this one house we were renting, and they had to replace the front room flooring because, well, if they don't go out, first off, they'll find their own place. But what I had learned is they get anxious, and then, as you mentioned, I love that you say they tear into your shoes, is the fact that they're very bored, and they just want to actually have some kind of stimulation. Cats, not so much, because they'll play with just about anything, but dogs have got to have that space, it seems like.
And those of you that rely on the puppy pads, they say those aren't good because the smells are very toxic. Obviously, when you're training them, it's fine, but unless they're older and they can't control themselves anymore, don't use that as a backup. Like, it almost trains you to not use them, so you have to take them out.
All right, and here on Daily Flash, they teach this old dog new tricks all the time, so it can happen. We got more Flash and more great stuff right around the corner. Stick around.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I am Mitch English.
And I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment.
Reading is so important, especially to kids, getting them excited. This past weekend, or just recently, if you were born on March 2nd, the folks at Dr. Seuss's Enterprise wants to give your new baby a book. It's all in celebration of Dr. Seuss's 120th birthday.
Oh, was he born on March 2nd?
Yes.
Okay.
And so they have a free giveaway of Cat in the Hat, and it's open to. They have 10,000 copies of it, and you have to. The parents have to be at least 18 years of age and residents of the United States. But you could actually reach it out, and they'll send you a free book for Dr. Seuss Day, March 2nd. So congratulations, babies, if you were born on that day.
You get a free Dr.
Get a free Dr. Seuss book. Love that.
Well, an Ohio couple held their wedding in an unusual venue, a Kentucky gas station's disco bathroom. Logan Abney and Tiana Alstock exchanged vows in the bathroom at the Hop Shops location. The store's bathroom has gone viral for a big red button that turns on a disco ball and plays music. The couple pressed the red button at the end of their ceremony to share their first dance.
How nice is that?
Super fun.
I think something fun and different to be able to do.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to the gas station. If in order to bring people in, hey, have you been to the Hop Stop gas station?
The disco bathroom with the red button.
It's gonna have people come. Like Buc-ee's, we were talking about that earlier. Is they have the cleanest bathrooms. Like they spend millions of dollars to keep their bathrooms clean and big and spacious. If it brings you there, why not? I can do a little disco dancing.
The Buc-ee's is amazing to me. It's like you get lost. It's like a Disneyland for rest stops.
And if you're not familiar, mainly in the South, Buc-ee's they're all along the interstates, and they'll have like 100, maybe it's 150 gas pumps. It's how big this place is, and people go there, spend all day sometimes. I don't know what goes on in there other than
and the
just grab your
food and
drink.
the tchotchkes that you can buy, they're endless.
Just a heads up, in my wedding, there's a big red button, but if you hit it, a pole comes out of the
Oh,
ceiling.
is that
and it turns into the bachelor party. It just kind of goes backwards. So just get ready for that.
I'm gonna get that installed in my double wide. So
And the girls pop out of the cake.
They do.
Is that
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I know a guy.
we can make that happen. All right, check out this next duo has gone to great lengths, all to reunite. The world's shortest living woman and the tallest living man recently got together for breakfast, all in California. Part-time farmer from Turkey grew to his current height of 8 feet 2.8 inches to become the latest Guinness World Records holder. The shortest woman in the world measures just a little bit over 2 feet tall. Following her 18th birthday in 2011, Guinness officially declared her the world's shortest living woman. She played Ma Petite in American Horror Story Freak Show back in 2014. And for those of you doing the math at home, 6 foot height difference, just to show you that this world is filled with all different types of people all together, and to have them together there is very interesting.
Impressive size difference.
Very
there.
impressive.
Yes.
The new Lifetime docuseries, Where is Wendy Williams, is actually not the Wendy that fans have actually grown to love. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people that are thinking that this is really something that should alert more and more people. In the documentary that you see, basically you see her struggling not only with alcohol, but with her impairments that she has with Graves' disease and now coming down with dementia.
Yeah, and I watched the first 3 episodes of this. I haven't watched the last one. You've watched
I don't think
everything.
you'll watch the last one. Not much really happens.
I was so concerned. You see a few shots of her son in here, so we actually get to hear from him. We don't hear from the ex-husband at all, which I thought was interesting.
They never did during the show either. He always kind of kept behind.
And I did a little research, and it seems like her niece was maybe part of the production team involved in bringing this series together, and I believe the niece is an anchor in Miami. New York. And then I was very concerned about the manager and the publicist that they featured on this, because they both seemed as though they might have been on the take. Now they're both gone.
The publicist especially takes her to L.A. without telling basically her guardianship or anything, to give her false hope, and meeting with executives, how disastrous it would be. And the manager was like, look, you have to set things up. You can't just show up, and probably hurt her chances to actually getting anything in the condition that she was in.
You wonder, like, who's paying this manager and who's paying this publicist? Because she keeps throughout the whole series saying, I can't get to my money. Wells Fargo's locked me out of my account. So where is the money coming from, and how are those people getting paid?
It seems like they need to break that down a little bit more, and there's still a lot of answers, just questions actually not answered there as well. We have more Flash coming up around the corner. We want you to be here. And by the way, our website's open right now, dailyflashshow.com.
In this week's Life Love Shopping, we take a closer look at a villain bridal gown collection inspired by Disney. Allure Bridals has put together their favorite Disney fairy tale wedding gowns inspired by the bad girls of the Mouse House. So let's start with the Ursula. The villainess of The Little Mermaid brings high drama to this black beaded gown with detachable sleeves. It also comes in ivory with a trailing mermaid silhouette skirt. Okay, next on our Villains Bridal Tour, the Evil Queen. You can rule your wedding kingdom with this eye-popping gown that features elaborate embroidery and a wrapped ruffle shawl, cape, Sold separately. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Will it be ivory, black, or gold for y'all? Maybe you're more of a Maleficent kind of bride. Well, check this out. You can curse all those ill-fated relationships with this stunner in shimmering green velvet with lace as you walk down the aisle. They also suggest a horned headdress is the perfect topper to this bridal gown. Or how about Aladdin's grand villain Jafar? He's inspired the final look here. Boy, if you want to seize the power on your big day, this gown offers a bit of menswear inspiration with dainty button cuffs coupled with a plunging neckline. Each style is available in both black for full tilt villain or ivory if you want just a touch of evil. Prices for the gown start at around $2,000. Allure has been working with Disney since 2020. However, this latest collection marks the first time they've traded in the princess for her arch enemy. Dating in the digital world can be a nightmare for both men and women. Enter a New York hottie named Nico. He hosts a dating advice page on TikTok called The Daddy Academy. In this video, he offers women advice on how to tell whether they are a priority or just on the roster.
Ladies, are you Miss Wednesday? Or are you getting those prime time Friday, Saturday night spots? Welcome to the Daddy Academy. Listen, for dates 1 and 2, I get it. Maybe you don't want to give a guy your weekend, totally understandable. But after a certain point, if he is coincidentally only available on Wednesdays or Mondays or Tuesdays, but you never really hear from him on the weekends, he's not offering Friday, Saturday spots, there's something up there, okay? I'm not going to say it's a total red flag, depending on how many dates it's been, but there's a flag waving, and if you squint your eyes, it's a little burgundy. I would say more times than not, this is a roster situation, although maybe it's not. It can mean but you have to dig and find the answer. Or this is what you do. You are no longer available Monday through Thursday, right? You are only available now on Friday or Saturday nights. And let's just see. Put that little test out there, okay, and see what happens. If it's not a roster situation, it's a priority situation. And essentially, he's telling you that you are not a priority for me to see on my days that I value the most, my free time, Friday and Saturday. Time is everyone's most valuable thing. So if he's not giving you those days, and this has been a pattern, you have to find out the reason why. Take away your availability during the week to force him to only, if he wants to see you, it's got to be Saturday night. It's got to be Saturday night, and then see what happens. If he schedules it, then okay, maybe there's just a little misunderstanding. If he doesn't, and you go weeks without seeing him just because you are busy now and he can't, then you know the answer.
There you go. Well, the Victoria and Albert Museum in London is looking for a Taylor Swift savant. This new position is centered around all things Tay-Tay. The London Museum has posted a position for a superfan advisor that will help them identify trends for future museum collections. The Victoria and Albert wants to fill the job before Swift starts the European leg of her Eras tour on May 9th. No word on what it will pay other than it's a competitive part-time position with benefits. And if you don't land the Swift spot, the museum is also looking for experts in croc footwear, emojis, and a type of textile manufacturing known as tufting. So good luck to all you Swift superfans. For more information on any of these stories, please head to our website. It's llsshow.com. Once you're there, you can check out previous episodes and get more details on our life, love, shopping topics. And don't forget to follow us on social media at LLS Show. That's the handle that we like to use. Stay with us. More coming up right after this. We're wrapping up our life, love, shopping episode.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash from the Las Vegas at the annual International Builders Show. Renowned storm chaser Josh Morgan showcases some of the benefits of building climate resilient homes. Josh, first off, tell us some of the trends of building these climate resilient homes. What's out there?
Well, I think the big trend is that everyone is thinking about this now, which is a really good thing. And I was saying whether climate is changing or not, I've always said North America is a very, very tough room for homes. You know, I mean, we get the most wild weather in North America, you know, between extreme heat, extreme cold, tornadoes, hurricanes, you name it. And so I think building a home that is climate resilient, that's really what it's all about. And I think more and more builders are really looking at that. They're not just looking at the aesthetics of the house, right, but how long is it going to last?
Really, where's the best place to start when it comes to making these types of homes?
Well, I think, you know, if you have an existing home, I think one of the very first things you can do is new siding. I mean, that's the number one thing. A lot of people have homes that are sided with vinyl or, you know, other kinds of things, but James Hardy siding, which is what I did my house with. It's fiber cement. It is impervious to every kind of abuse that a house can experience, whether it's a impact from flying debris and wind,
Wow.
or moisture, or rotting, or termites, or anything else, or even fire. Doesn't burn.
Hey, let's talk about that partnership James Hardy has with Habitat Humanity about building climate-resilient habitat homes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, Habitat for Humanity has Habitat Strong, which is building homes that are not just affordable, but also climate resilient. And James Hardy is all about climate resilience because of the strength of the siding. It's a perfect match, and it's a partnership that makes a lot of sense. We're very excited about it.
And if folks ever there have never gotten involved with Habitat Humanity, go out and do it. It's something really cool. And it's great to see that these homes are going to be built to last, too. Josh, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to make sure we post this information on our own website, and you can find that, of course, at dailyflashshow.com. Josh, thanks again for joining us from Vegas.
Thank you.
We all have a lot of stress in our lives, but is it really a bad thing? Our next guest, Dr. Aditi, says stress can be a healthy way to tackle life's demands. In her new book, The 5 Resets, Rewire Your Brain and Body for Less Stress and More Resilience, she offers actionable advice on how to shift our thoughts about stress. Hi, Dr. Aditi. Welcome to Daily Flash.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So you have 5 resets for us. Let's start with the first one. You say get clear on what matters most to you.
You know, for most people, we know what we need to do to get less stress on our lives, but the gap between where we are and where we need to be feels so wide and vast. And this first reset helps you close that gap. It helps you get a roadmap and a clear step-by-step plan to move forward so you can have a life with less stress and more resilience.
You also say find quiet in a noisy world, and boy, is it noisy. We have information coming from everywhere, all hours of the day.
Find quiet in a noisy world is what it's all about. Your brain and your body deserve rest and recovery. And in this modern world of constant stimulation, it's hard to get there without, leaving for a 6-month holiday to Bali. So this second reset offers some practical science-backed strategies to help you find your quiet, mostly creating digital boundaries around your consumption of news, headlines, social media, and protecting your sleep like the vital resource it is.
That is so important. You also say sync your brain and your body.
This is all about the mind-body connection, which is not woo-woo. There's a lot of science behind it. It's like gravity happening all around you, and your brain and your body are in constant communication. The beautiful thing is that you can learn to tap into your mind-body connection for less stress and more resilience.
You also say take a moment to come up for air. What do you mean by come up for air?
We are living incredibly busy, overscheduled lives. So creating a little space and recovery in the midst of your already overscheduled day is really what Come Up for Air is all about. One of the strategies in this reset is to stop multitasking, which is something that we all do and think of it as a badge of honor. In fact, it is a scientific myth. There is no such thing as multitasking. Even though 100% of us think we are excellent multitaskers, the truth is only 2% of human brains can effectively multitask.
It is so true. I mean, I just think of the example if I'm sitting on the couch and I'm doing a crossword, or I'm looking at news headlines on my iPad and I've got a television show going. It's amazing if I hit the reset button on the television show how much I've missed just sitting there while my brain is halfway in both actions.
That's right. What we're actually doing is multitasking. It's called task switching. We don't actually know how to multitask our brains. What you do is you go from one task to the other. That's why when you are doing a crossword puzzle and watching TV at the same time, you're probably not doing good at either. And so really focusing on one task at a time, it's called monotasking, and you can do a time block technique that I lay out in the 5 resets.
Final thing on your list, you say bring your best self forward.
When you are feeling a lot of stress, your inner critic has a megaphone. You have all of these berating messages about how you can't do this or you're going to fail. Why even bother trying? That is your inner critic trying to keep you safe, ironically. And it's about taking that megaphone out of the hands of your inner critic so your best self can move forward.
Dr. Aditi, some great advice. These are some super tips. For more information and to get a copy of the book, The 5 Resets, please visit draditi.com. Dr. Aditi, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Man, I love that. That makes a lot of sense when she lays it out like
terrific,
that. Love that.
yeah.
All right, little trending news here, and a nice ending, should I say. Tesla has paid a California bakery $2,000 to cover the cost of canceled pies. The Giving Pies Bakery originally received a request for 2,000 mini pies from Tesla before the order was then doubled. However, a rep from Musk's company actually canceled the order at the last minute, and the treats were not delivered. Well, when Musk found out about this cancellation, he wanted to make sure they got paid. Tesla offered the bakery a new catering gig for a Women's Day celebration in March, but the bakery turned them down because they've received so many orders, all thanks to that publicity. And initially, when I caught on to this story, this had not happened yet, and they had canceled, and then it was going after Tesla. And it's like, let's give Tesla a chance to respond to it. And anyway, and they did good, they did well. And the only thing I think if Tesla is they're making their own easy bake oven, because they're mini pies, and it was that light bulb, it's this electric. And, you know, I would love to have. I remember when I found out, I'm like, a light bulb makes this little tiny cake in the easy bake oven. My sister had one, and I go, why do we have this big old oven in the kitchen when a light bulb can do it? It just made sense to me.
And I remember my neighbor had the Easy Bake Oven, and we made the cakes. And there's just something about the flavor, the taste of those cakes I can still smell and taste today.
I remember my sister was gone. Maybe I stayed home sick, but I made one, and she was like, "Where's my cake?" I mean, it was like, obviously it was on me. It was all in my clothes. All right, Easy Bake Oven this way. Ding, we're not done though.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. A French girl has fallen in love with a teacher in Brooklyn, and he's fallen even harder, but their future is thrown into limbo when she interviews for a position in her hometown of Quebec. This is today's must-watch movie, French Girl.
I want to talk to you about Sophie. She's the one. Check out this bling.
What? Marrying Sophie to get Canadian citizenship. It's brilliant.
No, Dad.
I've been asked to interview for the executive chef position at the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City.
Quebec City, Canada?
Yeah.
Well, further north. Look at this place. 400 years of history.
Tout le monde, je présente mon chum, Gordon.
You're from New York? You're a Rangers fan? Oh, I actually don't follow hockey. I love figure skating.
Figure skating?
The costumes, dazzling. So you're the famous Ruby Collins.
And you must be Gordon. I've never got your family name.
What the f?
Yeah, she told me she'd been with women before, but this is her ex.
Good work.
She lied to you.
She didn't lie. She was protecting my feelings.
Pop the question before she switches teams again.
Oh, my day was great. I tutored your brother. Je connais un gars pour 1000 piastres. Il peut smash her legs. No, like Daniel Harding. I slaughtered a little baby lamb with your father.
Oh! Wow.
Oh, and I also found out that you and Ruby used to be lovers.
I brought you here because of your talent, not because of our history. I have the night off.
Are you serious?
Living in the city with my family really would be amazing.
It feels like I can't do anything right, unlike Ruby, who can do absolutely no wrong.
When a woman like that sets her sights on something, she always gets what she wants.
Want to shoot him blanks, Gordo?
I got a fish! I love your daughter, and I'm not giving up that easy. I'm the best at car chases! At this point, you probably all think I killed Mammy. I didn't come in. I didn't come in. What's happening? I know, it's so beautiful.
I'm liking that. Good to see Zach Braff around again. That's cool.
love him,
cool. Weird to see him with more little gray, though. It's kind of
I
weird.
know, he's getting a little bit older.
Well, that does it for our show today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, for more information on any of today's stories, be sure to visit our website, dailyflashshow.com. You'll find everything there. You'll also find Mitch and myself there as well.
Bye-bye, y'all.